Hello and welcome back to Humanizer. So I've integrated the Mixamo animation root motion import into the base project, so you no longer need a Blender plugin, and you can find that in the Nitrox Nova Humanizer under Scenes and Mixamo import. So there's an input folder here, and I've also moved the Mixamo reduced FBX into this folder, so you can copy it from here and upload it to Mixamo. So you'll upload the Mixamo reduced FBX into mixamo.com using the upload character, and then you can select which of the animations and download the FBX with the skin. And for now, you still can't use the animation packs because of the way Mixamo does the skeletons. So I am working on integrating that, but for now you'll just have to download them individually. So there were a couple issues with the previous import process. First, you had to manually change the import settings for each animation to retarget the skeleton. And then, as you can see, it still imports each animation into an individual, like a separate animation library, and you want them all grouped together, so I added the batch function as well. And finally, as you can see, a lot of the animations actually make the character move from the center point, and what you want is to use the root motion to make the character move in place, essentially, and then you use the move and slide to actually move the character around. So I've also implemented the root motion to the Mixamo animations. So now instead, you'll go to your project, Humanizer, add-ons folder, and in the scenes, I've added the Mixamo import. So in the input folder, you'll want to copy your Mixamo animations. I have a couple here for example, but you can just delete those. And I also have the GD ignore, which is just empty, but this tells Godot to ignore the folder, so it doesn't import your animations as scenes initially, which takes a while, so we can just cut that out by ignoring the folder. But as you see, it does not show up here in the file system because of that file. So once you have all the animations in the input folder, you can open up the Mixamo import 01 import settings.tscn, and you can just run that as a local. So you want to make sure that it does re-import the assets. Sometimes it doesn't. If you switch tabs, sometimes that will work. Otherwise, just rerun the import settings scene again. You can see that now it is re-importing the assets. So now you can see that the input folder is visible and we have our two animation libraries. And essentially what that did was it took the import template, which has all of the retargeting information already, and then I just insert the FBX file name for each animation. So it's generated this import file for each one, so it's properly retargeted. And once the animations are done importing, you can open up the second scene to pack the animations. So here we have a add root toggle, and this will take the X and Z movement and put it on the root track. But if you want to disable that, you certainly can. So, and then by default, it will just save the new animation player to the animations.resource in the output folder, but you can certainly change this name as well. So if you just run it with the default settings, it will create this animations.resource in the output folder. So you'll probably want to move the animation resource into another folder, but just to show you, you can open up the Humanizer scene or any saved character, and in the animation tree, you can load the output animations resource. So you can see that we have 2 animations here now instead of just the one, and you can select them from the drop down. Another thing is, because I named the running file running-loop, this is automatically looping, although you can just toggle that manually if you don't want to rename them. So you can see that the character is still moving forward, and that's because in the animation player, you'll want to select the root bone as the root motion track from here. And now, if I play the animation, you can see that he is running in place. And if I use the dodge backwards, so this one I did not tell to loop, but he jumps backwards in place as well. And if you look at the animations, you can see that we now have the root position track added. And I just took the X and Z position from the hips and transferred it to the root. There are other methods that include taking the rotation, but we are not doing that for this implementation. So in the previous animations, you can see that there was just the hips and no root track here. And you do have to select one of the retargeted rigs for this to work. By default, the game engine will be selected, and you can see it already has the root bone. But if you want to use the facial animations, you'll need to use the default retargeted, which does not have the root bone. But as you can see, if you load the created animation, they still work because it just ignores the root bone completely. So you can use it like that, or you can add the root motion component to your rig, which will create the root bone if you want it. So anyway, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, please let me know, and thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.